What's up, Leafs fans? Welcome back to another Leafs Nation After Dark. I'm Zack Phillips, and tonight we're breaking down game number 61 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season as they drop this one here. I think this is the first time all season and in a long time that they've lost a game while leading in the third period, and unfortunately it comes at the hands of the San Jose Sharks here tonight. Maybe the man who will be joining us later can provide a fact check on that one or give us the exact number of games that it's been, because I know it's been a while since that's happened, but we will be joined by producer Vick momentarily, and we'll break down what went right, if much, and what went wrong, and if we're panicked, and if it's time to cancel the parade and pick up our chairs off the street, and all that kind of stuff. We'll break it all down here on the show, on the post game here tonight. And it's all a presentation of Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N, code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N, all caps, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So, as I said there, producer Vick will be joining us very shortly here to help break down tonight's game. I mean, just quick thoughts before we get to Vick. I'm not really like devastated and willing to call it this is it. They can't win in the playoffs because you lost this game to San Jose here tonight. There was a lot of stuff that we saw over the last couple of games. Probably actually the win streak, surprisingly enough, that was like, yeah, there were problems, but they got pushed to the side because you scored enough goals, or your goaltending was good enough, or the other team bailed you out in certain situations. It didn't happen tonight. San Jose obviously is not a very good team. They're last in the NHL, and I mean, I think with the wins that they or the points that they had here tonight, they inched themselves a little bit closer to Chicago, which isn't exactly territory they want to be in. But you know, that's a team that works hard. Georgiev isn't a bad goaltender. He's not what Colorado wants for going on a cup run and having to rely on that guy back there, but they're going to give you their all every single night. It's the Toronto, blueprint here as well. How many guys on that team are from Toronto or playing their first games back in Toronto or playing their first games in Toronto at all? This is exactly what happens in years past, which is probably the only thing that you walk away from tonight that's a little bit scary. Alchemical Fitness, they're saying it's the energy, Zack, not the one game, but the way that they approach zone entry, power play, not hungry on pucks. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff bubbles up, and it's the reason you lose this one. But as Austin Matthews Hairline says, scheduled loss tonight, boys. I feel like our friend Nick Alberga is probably saying scheduled loss as well. But I wonder if producer Vick is, and with that, we'll bring him in here to the show tonight. Vick, welcome to the After Dark show. Are you smashing the panic button here tonight?
I'm pissed, but no panic button here.
Yeah. I mean, let's walk through that, though. Like, you are pissed. I'm not quite pissed, but there are frustrations that come up in a game like this for me.
Yeah, so while I was sitting here in the waiting room, I crunched some numbers. So 27-0-1 now this season when leading after two. And it is the Sharks' first win since January 27th.
There you go.
So they didn't have a win in a calendar month. And, of course,
yeah,
win number one against our very own Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Haven't had one of these embarrassing ones in a while. So it's the first one in a long time. I'm not happy, but I mean, there were some positives. Funny enough.
Okay, well, let's start with that because, I mean, like Sloth here in the chat, there's people who are pissed. Scott L., losing streak has begun, unfortunately. Debo, fire Mark Savard. He doesn't know what he's doing. Worm castings. They don't like playing at home. Dennis Rodriguez. Matthews is no more. Sloth. Zachary, schedule loss is an excuse. These are the Sharks. They're ass. We need to roast this team harder. Mike Batson, Leafs played well. Should have won 2-0. Where do you come in on this game, Vic? You said there's positives, but you are pissed. Like, where do you want to start on this one?
My one positive.
Okay, one positive.
Like that. Well, I mean, there was a couple, but my one positive, the one that stood out the most is how many times have we come on here and said the power play is ass?
Yeah.
The power play looked amazing all night. Even the ones they didn't score on, 5 on 4 at least. They were absolutely buzzing the entire night. Got 2 power play goals, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Matthews on the second one, especially, he gave me a little bit of the Kucherov vibe, where everyone's overplaying that pass, overplaying the 1T, and he feeds that backdoor to Matthew Nyes
Yeah.
when everyone overplays the shot. And
Yeah.
I like to see that a little bit more. He's turned into more of a playmaker. He can't score anymore this year, but
Yeah.
that was a little bit of the positive for me. I really, really like the power play. I don't usually like the 5-man, 5-forward unit, but they look really good to me today.
So let's stick with the 5-on-4 power play first, because I do have thoughts
Yeah.
on the OT 4-on-3 power play, which I'm sure you share in. But the 5-on-4, you brought up that Kucherov pass. It's kind of amazing that it took this long for them to figure out, like, oh, everybody on the other team is pinpointing one guy, or let's say 2 guys, if you want to include Nylander in there, and almost basically the carbon copy of Tampa, where it was Kucherov on one side, Stamkos on the other, and everyone kind of has to suck very quickly to one side or the other to play that. And then it's like, oh, if you just get the puck and bump it quickly to the middle, there's a guy there, and you've got the guy in Matthew Nyes. I do agree with you. I think that they were moving the puck pretty well. They were making it hard for San Jose to keep up with them. I mean, San Jose's not a very good team, so you should have kind of run around in circles around them. But regardless, I did think the power play was pretty good. And you know, it's kind of tough because you only scored 2 goals here tonight against San Jose, though, Vic, and both of them
nothing
came
at 5-on-5.
play.
Nothing at 5-on-5. Mitch did make a good play too on the Tavares goal, where they were kind of overplaying Matthews again, and he just walked it to the middle, took a weak little wrister. Tavares in the right spot, tipped it home. So, again, we've talked so much shit about this power play. I got to give them credit when they play well.
Okay, let's go to the overtime power play then, because we give the 5-on-4. We do have to, unfortunately. We give the 5-on-4 power play credit. I did think that they looked pretty decent. I mean, you got to keep it with a grain of salt here as well, because it is the San Jose Sharks. Like, they're not very good. It's just, it is what it is. You should take advantage. But we talk about, hey, don't play down to your competition. The power play, I didn't think did at 5-on-4. Go to the overtime here. You start 2 minutes, fresh 2 minutes. You've just ended the period. It's basically like there was a timeout because of the time off. Like, it's not like the Zamboni goes out there or anything. You get a chance to go right away. They play the full 2 minutes. I'll let you take the floor here first. What did you think about that overtime power play?
I absolutely hated it. It looked like the power play that we hate. It looked less decisive. It looked like they didn't know who to pass to. It looked like they were playing together for the first time. And it honestly, it looked like they've been working on the 5-on-4 so much that they never really work on the 4-on-3, and they had no idea what to do. I love Willie, game breaker. I thought he forced it a few times, like just throwing pucks on the net. Matthews calling for the 1Ts. Not that he was hitting the net at all night. He missed the net, I think, 15 times tonight? I have no idea. But
I know.
He was struggling, but Willie was just kind of throwing some hope shots at net. I love him, game breaker, but I don't know. I feel like we always talk about keeping it simple, and I feel like they maybe kept it too simple. I don't know.
That power play, I mean, this is the problem to me in the power play and the 4-on-3 and overtime. We've seen it very rare that happens, where they get those 4-on-3s or whatever it may be. If it's at 5, if it's during like the first 60 minutes, if it goes into OT, like, it's not something that happens regularly. But the one thing I noticed a lot previously is that they've had trouble backing down the penalty kill and getting them closer and closer to the net. The opposing penalty kill has had a pretty easy time keeping them outside, keeping them far away from the net, not letting them get in tight. This power play tonight was able to kind of tighten things up, was able to get closer on top, and somehow that seemed to work in to a disadvantage to this team, if that even makes sense. Like, the closer they got to the net, the closer in they got to the slot, it was like the more their brains shut off on that power play in overtime, where they were just like, I don't know what to do with this puck anymore. You saw that one at the end where Mitch gets it. He's basically at the elbow of the hash marks and the circle. He's that tight in. He's got a Sharks player down on one knee, not even in the play there effectively anymore. And rather than just taking a shot, like, I don't care how good or bad your shot is. You're an NHL player playing out there, like, you're an All-Star. You were on the Four Nations team. You get in that tight, and he's like, I can't shoot this puck. He's got to try to rip it back door to JT, and he doesn't even try to rip it. Tries to, like, feather one through there to him that gets broken up and sent back out of the zone. I just thought it was like, which is going to sound counterintuitive here, but like, it was like turning off their brains while also overthinking it. It was like,
Yeah.
like, there was times where they got the puck and they were like, I need to go cross ice to Matthews' back door here because he's tickling the rafters with his stick. And then there's times where they just get in and they're basically looking around going, what the fuck do I do with this puck right now? And basically looking at each other being like, you tell me what to do, or you give me an option here. That overtime power play was infuriating. It's San Jose. They're not very good. Their penalty kill is not very good. And then you look down at the guys you've got out there on the power play. That thing should have been over in like 10 seconds. Like, there's no excuse for that overtime power play for me.
Yeah, but one thing I will say is they, like, we hate it, but they played hard. The Sharks played hard all night. I don't know how many Toronto kids they have in their lineup,
Yeah.
but it felt like all of them are from Toronto. Barclay Goodrow had a huge block shot there. Ferraro was blocking everything. He could get he was throwing everything at the puck. He blocked Matthews on an early power play as well, broke his stick on that, got into a fight. It looked like all their guys had a little bit of extra jump. They were collapsing a lot. They were Toronto was by far the better team, but I felt like for the first time in a long time, they got outworked, and it just happened to be against one of the worst teams in the league.
Was this kind of like something you expected going into this? I feel like it was Nick. Let's talk to him tomorrow, he's probably going to say,
oh, yeah. And it's funny too, because we expected it in the past. So I guess I am a little bit surprised, but it is the third and four nights. San Jose, played yesterday.
Played the
afternoon.
Rangers on Friday, Sunday,
Sunday, Monday.
Yeah,
this is a
week-long
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. This is a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday team. So they played Friday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah,
and first game back after a long road trip. You're a betting man, Zach. How many times have you bet the team that's in their first game home after a long road trip?
Yeah, probably more than you could imagine coming back. It's like, it's almost like you get to, it's nice being away. Like, it's a long road trip, but it's almost nice being away, where that first game back is almost distractions. How many of these guys have kids and wives that they've got to cook for and do laundry and drop kids off at school for the first time that they haven't in 6 days?
And again, it sounds like we're making excuses. Like, there is no excuse for losing this game up to nothing after two to one of the worst teams in hockey. But I mean, there are excuses there. I bet you, I haven't watched the post game in a little while, but I bet you after the game, Craig Berube will say all these things and then say that they're not making excuses, or he'll be asked a question like that and they'll say, we're not going to make any excuses.
I know it's bound to happen. And look, I'm not trying to make excuses here. People in the chat are getting mad saying you can't lose this game. I agree. And honestly, like, one of the things too that I'm fairly frustrated with from tonight watching is effort wise. Like, they got outworked by San Jose. And yeah, you're going to expect a young team like that, as Vic said. Like, they've got a ton of kids and players and people from Toronto who are coming back here. And, you know, they're excited to play in front of their friends and family. And they're spending all the money to put their friends and family up in the stands there today. Like, these are expensive games that these guys get up for. And they're all ready to play and put on a show. And then you also get kids who have never played here, who know about this, who are now getting attention from the media that maybe they've not gotten yet to this point in their career. And then they're going to go out there and, you know, it's a big moment. It's a big game. So credit to them for showing up. But on the flip side, if you showed up tonight as the Leafs and you gave effort and you were there like toe to toe, balls to the wall from start to finish, and you just lost, it would have been easier to dismiss. There was just a very serious or notable lack of effort from this team tonight that is frustrating.
But again, like, it started really poorly,
Yeah.
And then what? 3 shots in the next, I think, 34 minutes they allowed. So they shut him down. They locked it up. Stolarz had nothing going his way, which is maybe why he struggled on that first goal. I mean, he hadn't seen a puck in literally half the game. The Leafs shut him down. They completely took over midway through the game, but then they let their foot off the gas. Do you want to do one more positive, or do you want to go negative here?
Let's go positive. We got a bunch of super chats here as well, so I don't know if you want to do the super
All right,
chats and then positive.
go with the super chat. I just wanted to give a couple Leaf guys a little bit of kudos as well, but we'll do the super chats first. Go for it.
Okay, so we have a super chat charity partner this season. That would be Sick Kids. Proceeds from our super chats going over to Sick Kids. It's an awesome cause that we've got on the show. If you want your question or your comment read, answered, whatever it may be during the course of the show here tonight, you send those in. You find it in the live chat there. You can send your message, select how much you want to send, and then click buy, and we will read them and play a little animation for you here on the show. So let's get to a couple of these here, Vic. So, Vic, I've been doing the show with you guys on the Leafs Nation since last March. So, basically coming up on a year here now this month. I've done, I don't know what, probably like 20-ish shows with Rosie at this point. I don't think he's gotten a hold of the fact that I say the super chat, I've got a super chat, and then play an animation yet. I don't think that's
Did
like...
you just talk right through it or what?
Yeah. He'll be like, oh, baby, what do we got?
Oh, is it because you can't hear it?
Yeah, probably, because I stopped talking, but yeah. All right, here's this first super chat of the night. So Sangnam, we can make excuses for tonight, but for those who say it's another example how some of the core lacks killer instinct, it's hard to argue against them. So we've got, I mean, we're taking digs at the core here tonight with this. So
I
saying
think
them
that's
make
harsh,
excuses,
man.
but it's hard to argue against them for how the core lacks killer instinct.
I think that's harsh, man. That's 27-0-1 when leading after 2. They have shown you killer instinct all season. Like, it's a blip. It's a blip. If it happens again tomorrow or the next night or whatever, then okay, then it becomes a trend, and then we'll start to worry about it. But I think that's harsh. Telling me they don't have killer instinct. They've shown you they have killer instinct literally all year. And now, again, I'm going to make another fucking excuse. I'm pardon my language, but they don't have their best defensive defenseman to lock it down. So McCabe's playing with Philip Myers, who, God love him, great guy, great hitter, great fight. Loved his game today, but he's not Chris Tanev. And Chris Tanev's not in the lineup. I mean, the defense took a hit. So, I mean, they struggled against Pittsburgh as well without him. They're going to struggle. No one is replacing Chris Tanev currently that is on the roster. So, if you want a Chris Tanev replacement, Brad Treliving's probably got to pick up the phone here in the next week. But I mean, telling me they don't have killer instinct is too much. I don't know. That's harsh for me. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, Meg says, Vic, what have you been watching for the last week? This team has been scraping by. Look, this last week, and I tried to set the expectations as I went into the week. I don't know if you looked at it differently, but you just came back from 10 days off the ice. It was basically a 2-week break there for the Four Nations tournament, and everybody was going to be rusty to some extent. The guys coming back from Four Nations were just going to have played at the highest level of hockey they've probably ever played at in their lives, and they're going to have to jump back into regular NHL action mid-season. That's a weird adjustment. Like, let's just consider the big picture of some of these things here for a second. Some of the other guys probably just went and sat on a beach with their families, or, I listened to you, the show you produce every morning with Morning Cup of Hockey. Pat Maroon was at Disney World for how many days with his family. Like, these guys, it's a different experience. So they're just away from the game and away from this elite level of competition on a nightly basis. Then you come back and you jump right back into it. Now, yes, they are professionals, but we're scrutinizing every single game here. So naturally there's going to be a drop off in play. I came back from the Four Nations basically just being like, let's get through this. Let's not have some ridiculous losing streak. Let's not have crazy injuries. Unfortunately, screwed ourselves on one of those, but you push through this week and let's see what we can do here. And I mean, I look around, you won 5 consecutive games and you won them in different ways. And tell me if I'm wrong, but these games felt like games that you traditionally lose. That game against Boston, you go down early, you're down 3-0 in the TD Garden. Not only do you normally not send that thing or not win that thing, you probably don't even send that to OT if this is last year
That's
or
a
years
6-0
before.
loss last year.
You are getting
That's
fucking blown out of the
that's
building.
it.
The game against Carolina, you're up, you're holding a lead late. All of a sudden, they start pushing, they make it tight. Teams of the past, maybe you win that game, but you're probably going to overtime there. Like, these just are different feeling or different results to games where it feels like previously it would have gone differently. The game on Sunday against Pittsburgh, it's a complete shit show. Your goaltending was, I mean,
Awful.
let's call it what it was. It was very bad. Joseph Woll was very bad on Sunday.
Yep.
Like, I'm not going to harp on the guy any more than that. It was one game, but he was really bad. You found a way to win. The Rangers game, you shit the bed. Your goaltender won for you. Like, I'm not necessarily trying to be positive about this game. It stunk, and I completely understand the frustration from people in the chat. I just want to kind of calm things down from a big picture perspective here, because I don't think all in all it's like slam the panic button. What the fuck are we doing? Look. Take a quick second to peek around the league. There is legitimate fear in people in Edmonton right now. Goaltending, defense. Are they going to be able to figure things out? Are they going to be able to rely on Stuart Skinner? Like, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in other teams where they just had weeks that were not very good. You kind of went on the opposite side here. You're going to go to the trade deadline. Your team's probably going to look a little bit different by Friday. I mean, you're 5-1 since returning from the break, and we've got people who are flipping out right now in the chat saying this team's fucked and we're back to the team of old. Like, I mean, I'm just not at that point right now.
I'm nowhere near there. And again, I'm as negative as they come when there's negativity in the air. Like, I will shit on the team when I feel like they need to be shit on. But again, this is one game in a really, really busy part of their schedule where they took their foot off the gas and had the game under control. I get it. I've seen it. How different is this conversation? Stoli stops Toffoli on that shootout attempt after Willie scored and game ends.
You figured out a way to get through it.
Done.
Yeah.
And are you telling me they don't have killer instinct then? Is that what you're going to tell me? Or are you going to tell me they went 28-0-0 when leading after 2? Like, it's literally one play there. Tyler Toffoli scored in the shootout, tied it, and then Tavares got poke checked and Zetterlund won it. Like, that's it. That's the difference in the game here. I know the power play sucked in OT, but again, like, I don't get it. Like, I love our fan base and I'm exactly like them on most nights, but today I'm just not there. I'm just not there. Maybe I haven't had enough to drink. I don't know.
No, I mean, I'm in the same page here. And Tammy had said, Zach, we shouldn't be, quote, traditionally losing to bums like the Sharks. This is supposed to be a year where it's supposed to be different. My pushback on that would be like, this has, for the most part, been different. I think of the last time that there was a loss like this to a team where it's like, wow, that's a team you shouldn't be losing to, or that's a pathetic team. How did we drop that one? Like, we were freaking out about Columbus early on. They're in a playoff spot.
They're a good team.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's fucking March. How many of these games can you count? Like, it's March. Yeah. We're in March. Yeah. And this is what, the third one you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, I did have my head explode a couple of times, probably.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. We're Leaf fans. It happens. But, like, I can't think of, honestly, you brought up the Columbus one. I can't think of another one off the top of my head. I cannot.
Yeah, and like there may be, and there's ones out there, but my point would just be like, yes, tonight's frustrating, and I mean, we can kind of dig back into tonight a little bit more here, but like I just see people who are trying to extrapolate this loss in this game out to the entire season, like over what happened the whole year. I mean, 6 1/3 just being a wanker in the chat right now. Zach, we played San Jose, not Columbus, for fuck's sakes. It's like, yeah, I know.
We know.
We're
We
talking
know.
about big picture things here. And I mean, the other thing that I want to point out is like Alchemical Fitness here had asked and just said, is this just the boys being bored of regular season hockey? You think the boys are just bored of the regular season and on coast mode until playoffs? Maybe to an extent. I don't really think so. I more so just chalk this up as like, it's March. It's trade deadline week. Everybody knows that. These guys are professionals. There are people right now in that locker room who are probably wondering if they're going to wake up here on the team tomorrow. They're probably sitting on the bench seeing a camera cut on the Jumbotron to Brad Treliving, wondering if he's on the phone with another GM, calling their name, saying that guy's being traded. You know what I mean? Like, there are elements of that are going on right now, and it's just in the lull of a season. Like, this happens. You just won 5 in a row. You had won 8 of your last 9 going into this game. Like,
they didn't earn any good graces with you, like any at all. Nothing. All of this 5-game win streak, like the chat's killing the boys. But I mean, you're absolutely right. Trade deadline's right around the corner. The guys in the bottom 6 are probably shaking in their boots, but that was my positive that I wanted to bring up. Nick Robertson looked awesome again, especially early.
Pontus Holmberg looked awesome.
Pontus too. Pontus was awesome as well.
Yeah.
Really liked his game. Can I bring up the massive elephant in the room?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you know what I'm going to ask you?
Why 34 can't score?
Yeah, why can't 34 score? Are you worried? That's my one word.
So when I talked to Rosie about this on Friday night after the game against the Rangers, I was, and probably to an extent I am, and in the back of my mind I am, but he's still playing well. And what Rosie pointed out, which I agree with, and I think is like a good point and something to rely back on, is like, he would be more worried, and I think we all would, if he wasn't getting the chances. He is, which is at least a positive sign because he's doing the right things in the right direction and getting those. And it is concerning that he can't score right now, because something in my brain just keeps telling me that once we get to the playoffs, it's like that just continues and he can't score. And then ultimately you're fucked, because like I that's one thing here I look at as well going into the trade deadline. We can add all the pieces we want around these guys. You need the big boys to show up in the playoffs. You need them to score goals. And right now, we're looking at the best goal scorer on the team, who scored 69 last year and then kind of went cold in the playoffs and then missed games from injury. We're looking at him not even being able to score right now. So is that going to carry over into the playoffs? Yes, that's concerning. But as for how he's playing, actually, like how he looks out there, he's still getting chances, which at least lessens the concern for me. How about you?
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried. I'm not going to lie. Well, I'm actually more than that. He's been off all season. Like, it's just not there. It's rolling off the tip of his stick. He's hitting a million posts. He's shooting it wide. I don't know if it's a wrist thing. I don't know what do we think? That the first injury was a back thing? I don't know. I don't think he's been fully healthy all year, and that's what worries me. I'm not worried that he's not scoring. I'm worried about why he's not scoring, and I think it might just be not being fully healthy, and that's what scares the crap out of me, because we, like you said, the big boys need to score in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think the big boy needs to score in the playoffs. Agreed. He needs to score in the playoffs.
Agreed. KPG, how do you neutralize Matthews scoring? Sew a C on his jersey. Yeah, look, that is concerning, getting to the playoffs and him not being able to score. He looks good all around. Defensive game's still there. I feel like he's getting chances, which is a positive sign. It feels like at some point he just breaks through, but it's like stuff where he's just missing the net. He's missing the post just barely. He's just off on opportunities, and those are the things that are kind of concerning, where it's like, okay, I feel like you should be able to dial in here at some point. And I don't know. Like, I'm looking at Florida and we're looking at Matthew Tkachuk go on the LTIR. I'm like, fuck me, man. Like, why can't Chris Tanev? Why can't Austin Matthews end up on an LTIR? Like, with these, we watch these teams that fire these guys on there. Nikita Kucherov didn't play a fucking game all season, shows up for game 1 of the playoffs. They go out and add whoever they want, and Vegas does it with Stone. And it's like, we're sitting here and we're talking about, can we find a way to bring Kalle Yarncroke off LTIR and fit $2 million in? And it's like, I just got to, like, put my head in my hands and say, what the fuck is happening? Because, you know, we watch these other teams do it, and they seem to have no problem finding ways around. And I mean, the Leafs are a creative team and creative management group, but it's just still so frustrating.
Rosie hates it, eh? Have you heard Rosie's takes on this?
Yeah, I listened to him today, getting
He's like,
pissed
this is
about
cheating.
it. Yeah, but it's like you can use it. You can use it. It's there. I don't know. It feels like they should be just LTIRing somebody.
Throw him on LTIR,
say,
get Shen and Parayko, and then
done. There you go.
And then bring him back.
We got a couple more super chats here, Vic. If you want to get some of these,
let's do it.
All right.
What do we got?
Jeff McKay says the goalie gave up bad goals, but the way the Leafs played in their own end in the third, that is what worries me about this team come playoffs. I'll start on this one myself and then see if you can jump in here or add anything as well. First of all, that's what worries me about the team come playoffs. Okay, I get it, but there's also a part of me that's like, this whole team was just kind of sleeping tonight. So let's just talk about the defensive side. I think they were all kind of just sleeping tonight. And Vic already pointed out, you had no Chris Tanev, which automatically makes you worse. You've got Philippe Myers playing in your top 4, and then Simone Benoit and Connor Timmins. Your ideal playoff lineup has one of those 3 guys, let alone all 3. Like, let's be realistic. We're sitting here talking about adding some type of defenseman, Luke Shen coming in here. Vic throws out Parayko. I've maybe got eyes on a guy down in Florida who might have just lost his job to Seth Jones, maybe being a guy who could potentially fill in a spot here. But we're talking about adding right-hand defensemen to fill into maybe your 5-6 or into your 4th defenseman position. So, okay, once we get past the deadline and when Tanev comes back, it's a little bit different, and that alleviates things. And I know that's not the lineup you had here tonight, and you got to play the cards you were dealt, but it's just not the case. I don't know, Vic, if you had any thoughts defensively before we jump to the goaltending side of things, but yeah, it was sloppy, but it was a sloppy game all the way around. It's not like they were dialed in offensively and then they just said fuck it to the defensive side of things. They were pretty messy everywhere.
Yeah, and again, that the first goal is a fluke bounce, like off the end board. Stoli completely lost it. I think he got his blocker on it. It hit the glass and bounced out the other way because he was looking to the right. So again, it's just a fluke play. Myers in front. I don't know. I have nothing else to add on the defense. I think you hit the nail right on the head there, Zach. Like those 3. I mean, ideally, like I've heard even Mario Ferrero's name mentioned. Like they're trying to get Simon Benoit out of the lineup. Like get a left-handed guy to move everyone down on that side too. So I mean, Tree's not happy with the top 6. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is kind of the ideal situation of, or let's not say ideal. If it was ideal, I mean, I'd probably be swinging from the fences, and ideal is getting Mikko Rantanen and Luke Shen and Braden Shen and you fucking name it. Let's add them all. That's ideal. But realistic, based on the assets you have, the assets you're probably willing to spend, the cap space you could find. Like, I keep looking around and saying, okay, the ideal or realistic trade deadline is probably, and I have a personal preference of one of the guys, but it's probably Luke Shen and, like, Brandon Tanev for me. You know, Kalle Yarncroke came back here tonight. Honestly, I thought he looked fine. Like, I don't think he was great. I don't think he was bad. You have to remember the guy hasn't played in 60 games, plus dating back to... Yeah, he just fit in. That's fine. Like, the guy didn't play 60 games. He actually had a chance there at the end. He contributed. But it's like, I look around and it's like, okay, whatever. I mean, we can kind of just say he was fine. You probably add somebody to your bottom 6 there. Maybe you add 2 pieces to your bottom 6. If you got Luke Shen in here, that fills in the 4 spot. He plays with Morgan Rielly, automatically makes Morgan Rielly better, FYI. Chris Tanev comes back. There's Jake McCabe's partner. So that's your first pair. That's a real different top 4 than what you're looking at right now with OEL, Morgan Rielly, Jake McCabe, and Philippe Myers. Right? Like, that's very different. Matchups are different. Minute allocations are different. Then bump down, you're going to have OEL, who I think is really good, and I'm not trying to, like, diminish him to a third pair role, but slides over to a 5 spot. And then you've got OEL and whoever it is on the right side. Maybe they add a guy. Maybe it's Myers, Benoit, Timmins. I don't give a fuck at this point, but rearranging things like that just feels a lot more comforting to me.
Exactly. Now, picture how much more comfortable you are sitting there watching game 1 of the playoffs, and it's OEL and Philippe Myers out there instead of Simon Benoit and Connor Timmins against,
Yes.
I don't know, they get caught out on an icing, and God, I don't even know who they're set to play right now, but I'm scared to look, and I don't want to look ahead, but like the other team's top players jump over the boards, and you got Simon Benoit, Connor Timmins, or you got Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Philippe Myers. So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory there. It's one guy. That's adding one guy just pushes everybody else, and it slots everybody else correctly.
Looking here at what we've got for the second half of that, because I want to make sure we answer all of it from Jeff McKay here. And again, thank you for the super chats. For those of you who haven't liked the stream yet, go hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel, Leafs Nation 401, right here on YouTube. Vic, the other part of this is the goalie gave up bad goals. But by the way, the Leafs play in their own end in the third, and then that's where it goes to the second part of it. So I do want to quickly touch on this. You've had elite goaltending all season, and there's games where your goaltending has bailed you out. You need to a couple of times here pay them back and bail them out. I don't think Stolarz is the reason you lost this game. I don't think he played like atrocious. There was actually a lot of times where he was really sharp and gave them opportunities in overtime, making a couple of massive saves that could have ended it there. There was a few times when San Jose was pushing there in the third period where Toronto was back on their heels, where it was Stolarz who was coming up with stops. Now, that third period did see the 2 goals that were scored by San Jose. They were both scored very similar ways. It was Stolarz with a bad read over to his right side and struggling to get from the right post to the left post, struggling to get over quick enough. The first one, he just really misread. Had no idea where the puck was off that shot off the boards. Was literally still looking, by the way, behind him to the right while it was out over to the left, like at the dot. And he's like looking over here until he realized it wasn't there. He tries to get across and get to that puck, doesn't get there in time. And the second one, as Wenberg goes around behind the net, just gets caught up, dragged out kind of out the side. The Leafs defense completely falls apart in front. Open man to Foley grabs that puck and buries it into the empty net. It was like a little bit messy. Yeah, I was going to say. It was a little bit messy from Stolarz tonight, but if it wasn't for him, for like the way he played outside of those 2 goals, it could have potentially been worse. It could have been over sooner. I mean, you got to find ways, especially against the San Jose Sharks, to score goals and get wins. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You've got to help your goaltenders out sometimes.
Okay, so I have my notes here in front of me.
Okay.
My first period notes. The last thing I have written for the first period. Stolarz is sick. That's the last thing I wrote at the end of the first, because it was 0-0, and the only reason it was 0-0 was because of Anthony Stolarz.
Yeah.
The Leafs literally no-showed the first half of that first period. Nobody showed up. I think it was it Tavares that took a penalty in the offensive zone, and the Leafs didn't touch the puck. And then when the Leafs got their first power play, actually, broadcasters were even saying, it's a fresh sheet of ice on that side.
Yeah, I know they haven't been down
like
there.
you haven't had the puck in the entire period. So he was the reason it was 0-0 after one. He held a minute, and yes, absolutely. So one thing I look for now, because we do so much work with Carter Hutton, he always says the way you can tell if a goaltender is having a good night or a bad night is if he's outside of his posts. And on both of those goals, Stoley was outside of his post, and we haven't seen that very much this season. So again, it kind of sucks. Like it kind of feels like it's snowballing, because Wall had a really rough night in the last game, and now we've had 2 in a row with a couple bad goals, and we haven't seen very many stinkers all year. But I mean, it is what it is. He gave us a chance to win, and nobody really wanted to put the puck past Georgiev all night.
Yeah, I mean, that's also the other part of this is that no one wanted to find ways to score on Georgiev down at the other end. Like, you had chances. Honestly, here, how many times tonight, we talk about Matthews missing the net. How many times tonight did Matthews or other guys on this team bury one into Georgiev's chest?
Yeah, a billion. Willie missed the net like 60 times, and the Willie misses were so egregious that the puck was coming outside the zone too.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to pick corners and just firing it around the glass.
Low angles and yeah.
We saw it a million times today. And even the Domi break that Robertson set up, I thought that was a good chance. Domi, I was kind of hoping he'd bury and then start feeling even better about himself, get a couple in a row, but yeah, it's tough when you lose the goaltending battle, which how many times has that happened this year?
Rare, very rare, unless Matt Murray or
Game
Dennis
one.
Hildeby was playing. Game one, and Stolarz was unbelievable. It's very rare that that's happened. You got to find a way to win it for your goaltender there. Vic, you're going to be down in Nashville March 20th to 23rd. Is that correct?
It is correct.
Carter Hutton.
That is correct.
Jay Rosehill. Nick Alberga will be down in Nashville. Make sure to join the boys over on a trip that you won't forget. The Nation Vacation heads down to Nashville. And if you want to head on over and buy your tickets, you can get flight packages, non-flight packages, all at nationgear.ca. It's going to be the trip of a lifetime. You can hang out with the boys, go to a Leafs Preds game down in Nashville, as well as see live podcasts and maybe see some special guests. Concern about that one now here with Luke Shen potentially being on the move out of Nashville. It seems like that was the surprise guest the boys had lined up, but regardless, still a chance, and maybe they find some other people down there in Nashville that will stop by the show anyways. But it's definitely a trip you're going to want to be a part of. You can go over to nationgear.ca now to get your ticket and find your spot on the trip of a lifetime. You notice how I clean my shit up there, Vic? It comes on right away now. I don't have that.
I literally look for it every single time.
I don't know what it was for the longest time. And basically what I did is I just had to re-download the email that you sent me and just delete this one and put it right back. It's the same file. I don't know. There's just something wrong with it, but works now.
Unplug it, plug it back in. That's it.
Pretty much. For those of you who haven't already, make sure to hit that like button. At 50 likes here, we'll do the smelling salts. It's 11:20 p.m. But Vic, do you have to go? Am I holding?
I don't. I'm just reading Craig Berube quote here. We turned
okay.
the puck over a bit in the third. One ended up in our net. I liked a lot of our game, not nitpicking, but we missed the net too much. Any loss is disappointing. A 2-0 lead we didn't close.
Yep. Yeah, it's bang on. I mean, I don't have
nailed it. Nothing else to say there.
Yeah. Here's what let's get to some of the more of the super chats here because we got a couple more from some people. There's questions and there's some frustration, so let's get to this next one. I didn't read it at a time. That was me reading it in real time. Tammy, our favorite Tams in brackets. I'm convinced Mark Savard probably draws up his plays using macaroni art because they look like headless chickens out on the ice. I don't even know what to add to that.
Look, they looked good in the first 60 minutes.
Yeah.
I hope that carries over. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I hope it carries over because they were moving it. They were slinging it today on the power play.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's not consistent. It goes up and down and in and out.
And it's San Jose, so it's like there's the excuse on that end, right?
Yeah, that's part of the problem where I have like that piece of me that's like we just
Yeah.
played San Jose. Like, I can't fully jump onto the power play. And like, I'm also remembering Friday night we had the conversation about me and Rosie why the first unit stinks and the second unit is good. It's Friday that happens. Sunday it looks fine. Today it looked a little bit dangerous. You get to overtime, it looks fucking awful. I don't know, man. We're in out everywhere at this point. It's been a complete mess. I will say, big picture, the power play is scary to me because it's something that just disappears every year in the playoffs. And it's so hard to score at 5-on-5. Special teams are so important. Having a good penalty kill that just allows nothing, or having a power play that's taking advantage of other teams and they give those opportunities, it means a lot. It's not like the be-all, end-all of having like the best power play versus having like an above average or an average power play. But if you go into the playoffs and you play like you did last year on odd man situations, you're going to be completely fucked. Like, honestly, the opportunity for you even to get out of the first round is going to be hindering on whether or not your power play can show up. Because, I watched those guys last year in the playoffs, and it was a complete and utter joke. You might as well have just said no thanks to power plays whenever they got those opportunities, honestly, at that point. If that is going to bubble up, and this power play from this regular season carries over to game 1 in April, I mean, I might just be waving the white flag, like, at that point, because it's important for it to show up.
So, would you prefer a Luke Shen type of D-man or a guy with a freaking point shot that we haven't seen since, I think, Morgan Riley's been a Toronto Maple Leaf? Like, who's the last guy?
Aaron Ekblad. Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah. I mean, are the Panthers going to give the Toronto Maple Leafs Aaron Ekblad before the season's out?
I don't know. It's hard to say that they would, but I don't know. I don't know that they would, honestly.
I do think I honestly do think he will be a Toronto Maple Leaf in come free agency, but I don't know if that's an in-season move.
Yeah.
Ideally you get a guy that can both defend and give you a point shot on the power play, because that's the difference. Like, we talked about Matthews being the Kucherov. There is no Hedman up at the top.
Yeah. I know. I mean, you put out it, like, that's also one of the things. The 5 forward unit is fine. I would probably prefer the 5 forward unit if the guy at the top had a bomb of a shot, but unfortunately you want Matthews and Nylander out on the wings. Like, the thing that makes some of these power plays so dangerous, i.e. Colorado, is it's Cale Makar back there and the guy can step in and shoot the puck. It's Victor Hedman, as you just mentioned, who can fire pucks off out there. It's going to be Seth Jones in Florida, who can let it fly and
Evan Bouchard.
Right, like, these guys can shoot the puck, and then you put Morgan Riley out there. It's just not the case. So they completely move off of it, and now it's Mitch Marner. And yeah, he's quarterbacking it from up there, but, he's not a threat unless he gets down into the slot. Like, he's just not.
And he did what he does today, where he floated that wrister into Tavares, and that's what he does. He's good at that. He can get it through, but if they take that away, like, I want that extra option up top, right? So that's what opens up the Matthews. That's what opens up the Nylander on the half walls, right? So
yeah,
ideally Marner standing in that Braden Point slot in the bumper spot there.
Yes,
that's what I'd like. But again, I think they want him to have the puck and be the QB of it. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is.
Hear me out. I am fucking tired of having to watch this power play with somebody having to always have possession of the puck. Like, Boston, Tampa, Colorado, Florida. Just trying to think of some of these power plays
Edmonton,
that are like
again. I'm going to bring them up again.
Watch how long the puck is on guys' stick. Even when McDavid or Draisaitl gets the puck and they possess it for a little bit, it's like 2-3 seconds where they carry it, take a stride, bang, puck's off their stick. You watch here. You could put a stopwatch on Mitch holding the puck at the top, and it's like 35 stick handles, and it's 10 seconds on his stick before the puck's moved. And yeah, okay, he's possessing it and holding and setting up and getting everything like locked in before he makes the move and not forcing things. That's all fine. But The power play doesn't have to work. Like, the power play can just stand there and basically defend without moving, and then the puck goes to Matthews, and they go and step across to Matthews, and then he stands there and stick handles and looks around, and he goes back to Marner, and then the power play goes 2 steps to the right side, and they stand there, and then Marner stands at the top like this, and it's just like, Nyes is creating the biggest problems here because he's fucking around in front of the net with his ass in the goalie's eyes.
Yep.
And outside of that, everyone's pretty much just standing around with their sticks in the air, like, give it to me, I'll shoot it. And then they get it and they fake the shot and hold on. It's like, I don't know. We could spend all the time in the world on this. I'm not in the NHL. You're not in the NHL here either. It's like we can talk about this till we're blue in the face, but it just feels to me like there's simple solutions to this that they're either refusing to do or just overthinking and it's not working. But I mean, seriously, like, this is where we get into problems too. People are going to fight back on us and be like, well, they're 12th in the league. Well, they could be like the number 1 power play if they stopped fucking around with their dicks in their hands every time they go out there on 5-on-4, because that's what's happening, Vic. They just stand around and watch, and it's like, watch other teams, watch other power plays.
You have
they
2
play
options.
Like that.
You have 2 options. If you're going to hold the puck, you need guys moving around.
Yeah.
If you're not going to hold the puck, you
Creating
one
chaos
touch
elsewhere.
it, and everybody can stay where they are, but you got to one touch it.
Yes.
You can't have guys holding the puck and nobody moving, because that's when you get what we got against Boston last year in the postseason. What, 4% power play?
Yeah, I think it was like 4.3%.
4.3.
Or something like that.
Yeah. If you're going to hold the puck, you need guys moving around all over the ice. Nobody stationary. Marner moves right. Everybody circles around. You lose your defender. But yeah, the way they're doing it just doesn't seem to make sense. Other than today. I liked it today.
Yeah, I mean, today it was moving quickly, and they made a comment about it on the broadcast as well. Like, oh, wow, look at the puck movement. I was like, yeah, the puck movement was actually pretty good. KPG there says, Vic knows one touch. Vic, I don't want to keep you way too much longer here. We do have a couple more things to get to, but I want you to answer some of these super chats with me, and if people got other questions, maybe about like trade deadline, fire those in, because I want Vic's opinion too. We hear from the boys on the show, Nick and Rosie, but we never really get to hear from Vic on Leafs Morning Take. So let's get to some of the super chats, and the first one is right in that direction. Max Entias Decimus. Thank you for the super chat as always.
My boy.
Will Yarncroke be a Leaf after Friday?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. And the only reason I think so is because he hasn't played enough. Who the hell is taking Calle Yarncroke?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, luckily his contract is not like some burden. It's $2.1 million, which also, that's what I was like. I saw him coming back. I just was like, saw people freaking out. And I'm like, he makes $2 million. Like,
you know what's messed up to me? How does Kampf make more than that guy?
I don't know.
It's insane. But yeah, I mean, ideally, you could maybe, it depends what the moves are, right? Like, ideally, you could probably flip Yarncroke in a 4th to Chicago and for a 7th, and they'll just hold on to him for you. They're looking for veterans. They need some help. That's what their motto was all of this past year. They brought in like Turbo, Bertuzzi, all these veterans to help insulate, not isolate, Connor Bedard. So, I mean, he could be a guy like that. He's a good pro. He plays top to bottom in their lineup. I mean, a guy like that they could use, but I don't think anyone's rushing for Calle Yarncroke.
I'm going to say he is cheap, bottom 6, upgrade on Reeves at bare minimum on the 4th line right wing. You know, he doesn't bring the physicality, but let's talk about endurance, speed, maintaining that over the full course of a playoff run. He's also maybe some insurance there. Someone gets hurt, you've got a guy who's an NHL veteran, has been there, has played in games, has been in playoffs, like all that kind of stuff. He's been around. He can jump in. He can score 15 to 20 goals in the regular season. Like, it's a guy who can provide you some offense, and he's been forced here in Toronto, which I think has kind of led us to be in a different position when we view the guy. We've seen him play on the first line in the playoffs, in regular season. And yeah, he doesn't produce there, which makes people flip out. But then it's like, guys, he's making $2 million fucking dollars. Like, you're expecting this guy who's not a first line player, not a second line player, to go in there and have to be in that position and produce. It's like, no shit, he's not. It's not happening. But
Yep.
he could be a guy who can maybe make an impact in the bottom six. I thought he looked fine tonight. He was okay. As Vick said, he was like not noticeable, which is pretty
fine.
good.
I wasn't expecting to notice him, but
Right.
he didn't
And
do
then
anything bad.
there's another reason I have for it, and it's the last one on this, but you know who Brad Treliving traded for in Calgary at the deadline one year? It was Calle Yarncroke. Like, he went out, brought in Calle Yarncroke into Calgary. That was a deadline acquisition that he made. I think it was actually the last season Yarncroke was in Calgary before going to... Did he go to Seattle after that? I think he did, and then to Toronto. I think that was his path.
Is that where we got? Yeah, is that where they got him from? Was it Seattle?
I think so. I think that was the route that he took. Because I think he went Nashville, Calgary, Seattle, Toronto. I could be wrong or have that in backwards, but Nashville, Seattle, Calgary, Toronto. That was what it was. Not Nashville, Calgary. So he went to Seattle, then he went to Calgary at the deadline, and then he came here to Toronto. But I think he still stays here. So it is what it is. Couple more here quickly that we'll get to. KPG, happy birthday to my lovely wife.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Mrs. KPG.
What a lucky lady.
Yes. The other one that comes in here on this one that I'll get to as well, and this is the last one before I let you go here, Vic. How many tries with these 5 core players before everyone gives up? 9 tries? These 5 core players are all top players. However, mixing them together is an issue. Are you done with these guys after this season?
Depends. How do they win 2 playoff rounds?
So what is your barometer?
What's your line?
Let's
okay.
Yeah.
two rounds at least. I need at least 2 rounds.
So they go to the Eastern Conference Finals. They lose in round 3. You're okay. You're okay with the group. You've got some faith.
But again, it's the thing. It's how did they lose? Did they fizzle out in 5 like they did to the Panthers, or are we playing tight games, going deep, at least 6-game series, overtime, like a heartbreaking loss? Then yeah, but yeah, 2 rounds is minimum. I need 8 playoff wins.
Okay.
Maybe more. I need 10 playoff wins.
Yeah. Okay, so I think my number is what would that be? 10 playoff wins. Oh, so you get 2.
You get to game 6 in the 3rd round at least.
Okay. I think my number is anything less than 2 rounds. It is nuclear.
Complete failure. Yeah.
It's nuclear. I mean, honestly, and I know one team wins the Stanley Cup every year, but how many times can you just hit your head against the wall and then expect it to feel differently? Like, why do I have a headache? Well, because you're mashing your head against the wall. It's the same thing over and over again, running it back with the same group. I mean, if you can't get past 2 rounds this time, I don't care if you get the 1. It's the same. It's explore walking from Mitch Marner. Explore Mikko Rantanen. Find if there's defensemen out there. Do you need to change Shanahan? Do you need to change Treliving? Like, I like the job Treliving's done, but I mean, I don't think it's out of the question to say that those guys, they would be under some scrutiny at the end of the season. Like, we all talked about how Keith Pelly came in here and he's taken over this organization, MLSE that is, and is going top down, and everything I've heard about this guy is he has 0 tolerance for losing.
Yeah.
Like, all he wants to do is win, and he'll do anything and everything to help get these teams in the right direction and win. And it feels like that would be big changes. I would be prepared for that. And I mean, you get to the 2nd round, if people are walking away saying, no, let's try again, I mean, fuck, like throwing the white flag for the next season. Like, I just, it'll be the most infuriating thing ever yet again. I will say losing in the 3rd round.
Okay. So here's the path right now. It's round 1 is Columbus, Detroit, Ottawa, Rangers. One of those 4 most likely if we stay where we are.
Yeah.
And then round 2 is Florida or Tampa. So The obvious nuclear option is if you lose to one of those first four teams I mentioned. And then the second one is if you're continuously losing to the same guys, when are you going to take the step and get ahead of them? So either way you slice it, if you lose to in the first round or the second round, there should be a lot of heads rolling.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, you kind of backtrack this. Like, third round for me, you lose there. It's evaluating how you lost. Like, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. But I mean,
Yeah.
third round, you get to the third round. I just take a look and evaluate how did you lose. And that's where you start to plug holes and try to figure out what it was. Maybe you feel a little bit more confident in the group, but like we've seen other teams take somewhat of drastic measures, even losing in third rounds. And I don't mean drastic like you're getting rid of Matthews, Marner, Nylander, but maybe you look around and you go, Morgan Riley's not it. And that's the change you make. And you trust Tanev and McCabe, but Riley, you can't be here. OEL, you will be. The goalies, you will be. But there's changes elsewhere. Maybe that's where things start to happen. Maybe they say, Johnny T, you're not a second-line center, and if you want to be paid higher up, then you're gone. Like, maybe that's where they make changes, but it's not like flip the whole team over. Where we'll say is flip the whole team over is first round. First round... If they lose in the first round and I even hear whispers of their contacting Marner's camp, I will be begging you to let me on the morning show so that I can fucking yell and scream about how stupid this whole thing is. I'm honestly, like, dead serious. And it's not a personal thing against Mitch Marner. It's just commitment to running it back with the same group after you fail and flare out in the first round again. Like, that'll be catastrophic. My head might explode. Like, my head might literally explode.
And that's the thing, too, is like they finally have the opportunity to actually make some substantial changes if this doesn't go well. Yeah. And if they don't use that opportunity to do that, then I would like to be invited on your show so I can fucking yell and scream. Because
Game 7 Red Wings overtime loss, and it's gonna be me, Vick,
Patrick
Nick,
Kane, showtime. Showtime.
We're gonna have to make a 4-man box here on the show so that we can get all 4 of us. No one's gonna be able to talk. It's just gonna be straight yelling.
Yeah, and cussing and screaming and
yeah.
Oh, God. I do want. Sorry, I know you got some things that you have to do here. I just wanted to bring one thing up. So Frank Saravalli had someone tweeted out a Frank Saravalli quote, and I just wanted to
was it Frank
see
or
what
Frank?
you got. No, it was Frank. Okay. It was a quote of Frank, so it wasn't even Frank's tweet. Someone quoted Frank Saravalli. Okay, so I can think of no better fit for Riley Smith, especially if New York retains half than the Toronto Maple Leafs. An integral piece of 2 different Stanley Cup final runs with Vegas, a tremendous ad at a not so expensive price. So I did some digging on Riley Smith.
Yeah.
He's had a rough last couple seasons. Since he left Vegas, he only has 23 goals. But he has 106 playoff games under his belt and 79 points in those 106 playoff games. So I think he'd be the right winger, most likely, probably third line behind Willie and Mitch. What do you think of Riley Smith? That was the only thing. I just saw it, so I wanted to bring it up.
I think Riley Smith has a psychotic brother who they're from Toronto. Do you know the Smith brothers? Have you ever heard of them?
No, I don't know the Smith brothers.
I'm going to send you
he's from Mimico, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to send you a link. Chris Tanev is in this video. I can't, unfortunately, play it on the show here, but everybody should take a moment out of their day at some point in time to watch this video. It's called Rory Smith Unchained. It's Riley Smith's brother. Chris Tanev is on the opposing team. This is Junior A hockey in Ontario. I'll text it to you, Vic. But let me actually give you a serious answer here about Riley Smith. I actually don't mind that. What does it cost, and are the Rangers willing to eat that? He's 33. He's a UFA at the end of this season. Mm-hmm. Right, he's a winger, left-handed, correct, which is probably ideal, honestly, because it feels like then it can shore up your whole Nyes, McMahon, Riley Smith side of things.
And then you got Patch on the fourth line, potentially.
Right. And then you fit Dewars somewhere else, or he goes out of the lineup. You have Yarncroke, who's now jumped back in. He's a right-handed shot. You can shake things up that way. Maybe you go out and add another player here as well. But they're lower hit players in regards to, like, they're not going to chew up cap. I mean, the only problem here with Riley Smith is you need the retention on the Rangers side of things. What does that force the price to? But I don't mind that. I mean, it's a veteran guy. He's had playoff runs. He's being involved in it. Did he win a cup in Vegas?
Yeah, his last season in Vegas, he won the cup.
So he's won a cup there, had that experience as well. I don't mind that, and I think that the position fits left hand, left winger.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like it makes sense.
Nyes, Bobby, Smith, Patch, right? But where does that leave my good friend Pontus?
I don't know. Pontus is fucking making.
What about a fourth line of Patch, Pontus, and Yarncroke?
Who's the center?
Pontus. Yeah, Pontus.
I'm worried about Pacioretty's.
You know what I think? Everything?
Dude, yeah, everything. You know what I think? I kind of keep getting this vibe. I don't want to put this out there because it's kind of bad juju, but like also kind of hilarious, and I could kind of see. There's a part of me that feels like Pacioretty's going to do the Nazem Kadri in the playoffs.
The Kyle Clifford, the hit from behind 5-minute major, you're God.
Yeah. Like someone's going to hit Matthews and it's going to be clean. But like Pacioretty or Tavares, let's say, because there's a better chance that he ends up out there with Tavares than Matthews. He ends up out there with Tavares and somebody like clips him. And it's not even that bad, but Pacioretty wires cross, sees red, and he just bashes the guy's head against the wall.
Can I tell you something?
I could see it.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I don't think I mind that.
I don't know if I do either.
I don't think I mind that. I'm in for that.
I'm not saying it's not because of any history from him. Like he's done nothing to lead me to believe this.
He throws some borderline ones though. He does. All his hits are a little bit like
where like all regular season we love it, and then like in the playoffs we're like, oh my God, you smashed that guy's nose off the glass. I don't know. I could kind of see it.
I don't mind it if he does it protecting somebody. But,
fair enough.
Yeah. Nas won a cup. Let's get more Nas's.
Let's get more Nas. Maybe we just find a way to get Nas here. Vic, we've been on here for an hour and 8 minutes. I appreciate you, Eric. Got some more things to clean up before I can wrap this show up. I did hit 50 likes here as well. So I'll do the smelling salts. But do you have anything else for us before you leave? Any words of wisdom or final thoughts? I won't see you again or hear from you. The chat won't hear from you until after the trade deadline. Because my next show will be at 1:15 a.m. on Wednesday.
Yeah. Good luck. I do have one final thing that I think is the perfect thing to wrap. And it's, again, I wrote it in my notes. I fucking hate when players change the pronunciation of their name after they're in the league for a long time. And Lil Jagrin drives me insane. And I was a Bills fan, and Tyrod Taylor changed his name to Tyrod like 12 years into his career, and it drove me nuts. It's like, no, you're Tyrod now. You're too late. So Liljegren, you're Liljegren forever. You are not Lil Jagrin. Sorry, buddy.
That's fair. I mean, I don't blame you. And the whole time they kept saying it on the broadcast, I was like, dude, why didn't you just correct somebody in Toronto?
Yeah, day one, and then we would have called you Lil Jagrin this entire time.
And like the other thing is that I know for fact, like these broadcasters here, like they ask. Like, how do you want your name enunciated? It's not just something like Dickhead who went in there and was like, you're Liljegren. And he was like, oh, okay, like, I'm too young and Swedish.
I'm that Dickhead now. Like, now you're Liljegren. Like, now you can't change it. Now you're too late.
You fucked up and you went down this. Yeah, exactly.
We asked you already, and you said this, so.
Yeah. All right, Vic, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. You enjoy the rest of your night. Get tomorrow's show scheduled. Get Morning Cup of Hockey scheduled. Who's on with you guys tomorrow?
I forgot I had to do that. Frank Saravelli is on with us tomorrow.
Right.
Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.
Frank
and we're working on Pat, but I'm not sure if he's going to join us yet.
Nice. There you go. He scored a nice goal last night, I think. Was it last night or Sunday night, maybe? I was watching a Maroon highlight where he came around the side of the net and tucked on the far side. But
Roller
Vic,
hockey styles.
yeah,
See you, bud.
exactly. Thank you very much. I'll
Thanks,
see you
guys.
later. There you go. Producer Vic jumping on here to help break things down. Little Willie Styles in the chat wondering who's producing. I produce and host the show. That's how the post game works here. Thank you all for hitting that like button. Subscribe here to the channel, Leafs Nation 401, right here on YouTube. We did hit 50 likes. For those of you who are new to the channel, new to the chat, whatever it is, make sure to keep hitting that like button, subscribing. We're trying to get to 15,000 subscribers before we get to the playoffs. I mean, 20,000 would be ideal, but 15,000 for sure before we get to the playoffs. You guys keep hitting that like button. I'll keep doing the smelling salts. So here you go. Here are the smelling salts. Let's do it. I can't even begin to tell you guys how unbelievably potent these things are here right now. But if you want to maybe try the smelling salts, maybe I could bring them to Greta Bar, which you can find 590 King Street West, downtown Toronto. It's an unbelievable spot, a spot I frequent. And I know Nick was at the game here tonight, so maybe Nick found his way over to Greta Bar as we get to our play of the game. And our play of the game is presented by Greta Bar YYZ. Shout out to our friends over at Greta Bar. It's an unbelievable spot. Great street food. It's an awesome spot. Pre-game, during game, after game, whether you're looking for snacks, food, drinks, games. If you're looking for a date night, it's an unbelievable spot. I love heading over to Greta Bar myself. I've been there with Vic. I've been there with Nick. It's just a fun time all around. Weekly drink specials. Greta Bar is the place to be. 590 King Street West, Greta Bar. Let the games begin. And on top of that, I've told you guys about Flight Night. Join us for Flight Night on March 8th at Greta Bar YYZ as we watch Toronto take on Colorado and get your shot at an unforgettable Nation vacation to Nashville. One lucky winner and their guests will travel with the TLN crew and fellow Nation vacationers to Nashville, Tennessee from March 20th to 23rd, where Toronto will take on Nashville. Round-trip airfare from Toronto to Nashville with Air Canada. Carry on a personal item only. Bus transportation to and from the airport. 3-night stay at the 4.5-star Waymore's Guest Hotel and Casual Club. Friday, March 21st, there will be an exclusive bar event at Love and Exile Bar featuring a live podcast recording and special surprise guests. Group tickets to watch Toronto take on Nashville at Bridgestone Arena. Must have a valid passport that is not expiring within 6 months of travel. Must be 21 plus to enter. See full rules on nationgear.ca. And how to win the tickets? Well, by purchasing a ticket, you're automatically able to play Guess the Bravery bead. So you have to be there in person. But for the guessing game, for the chance to win a trip for two to Nashville. Price is Right rules, no going over guesses. Tiebreaker, multiple people have the same guess. The TLN crew will challenge you to some hockey trivia to secure your win. I already know that Nick and I were already getting our trivia ready to go. But if multiple people have the same, we'll go to the trivia. Any extra guesses you want are $20 each. General admission for the event is $10, all in support of the Sick Kids Foundation. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ourselves to the play of the game. Play of the game. Little Willie says, Producer Vic and producer Zack at the bar together. Yes. Joshua Disatel, Zack, does that hurt the nose? No, doesn't hurt the nose, but if you get these ones when they are brand new and you get it close to your nose, it hurts your eyeballs. They start watering. It hurts. It doesn't hurt. It's just shocking, to say the least. Play of the game for me. Oh, man. I don't know. I'm just going to give the player of the game to Matthew Nyes for two reasons. One, his goal. Two, the screen he had on the Tavares goal. He's been an awesome net front on the power play. He's been adjusting real well to playing in the top six. This is a kid. Like, we got to remember, this guy's jumping out from college hockey. He's joining in here, and all of a sudden he's able to make such an immediate impact. Matthew Nyes, his play tonight, just all around, he's going to get the player of the game. I know it's play of the game, but I'm giving player of the game to Matthew Nyes. Honorable mention, Willie shootout goal. I see AK and KPG says that. AK in the chat says 16 stick breaking. That was nuts. I don't know if I've ever seen a stick breaking in a shootout like that. Pretty fucking insane. You feel like you should be checking your stick before you get there. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be my play of the game, I guess. I don't know. I thought Nyes was good. I think Nyes looks good on the power play. I don't know. This is a tough one. This is a boring, sleepy game. It is what it is. Anyways, that's our play of the game for tonight. We're going to get to our grade of the game here in a second, but before we do, let's recap our best bet. And our best bet segment is presented by Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account at Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. That's code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N, all caps. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION. Remember that. Use code NATION when you sign up. Our best bet, unfortunately, did not go very well. I thought we might have it. I'm pretty sure it counts if they score the game winner in a shootout. I could be wrong, but we had the Nylander anytime goal as our best bet. We had a half unit on that one, so we end up losing a half unit, and we bring ourselves back down here to up. Actually, I got to double check. I think we bring ourselves back to 6.25 units on the season. That would be a profit of $625 this year. Our record is bad. Like, we just lose our record. It's no bueno. But, I mean, we're up units, and that's pretty much the biggest thing that I'm looking for is, can we walk away with money? Can we walk away up on the day, up on the year, up on the night, whatever? And right now, we're doing okay on the season. We want to keep it going, keep things positive, but as per right now, no, not the best. We lose here tonight. William Nylander, anytime goal. Now, let's get to our final segment of the night. Little Willie in the chat there. Thank you for showing up to the stream. Oh, man. Let's get to our final segment here. Let's get to our grade of the game. You guys send in your grade of the game, and we'll break this one down. Grade of the game for me here tonight is going to be a C-. Effort was not there. Sleepy game. The goals that happened were Stolarz not playing that great, but it was the defense letting him down before. Power play was good. Brutal in OT. There was some dumb things that happened in overtime as well. You blow a third period lead for the first time this season. It's also not just the first time this season that you've blown a third period lead, but like it's on home ice. It's against the San Jose Sharks. Like, that just should not be happening. I am glad you get a point out of this because you're in this race against Florida and Tampa, who played each other here tonight. But it's like, that's so fucking shitty that happens because you look at this, Florida and Tampa played each other. One of those two teams who you're in a race with right now got 0 points. The other team ended up with 2, but they forced it to not go to overtime. So Florida wins that thing 2-1 in reg. They get 2, Tampa gets 0. You could have jumped up on Tampa a little bit more here tonight by just getting yourself 2 points. Instead, you only walk away with the 1, and that feels like a dagger because it's like a point you should have had against San Jose. There was some bad luck, some bad plays, some bad reads. Stolarz had a couple of misreads as well. Ends up in the back of your net. It's a C- for me. And it's frustrating because, yeah, you should have just won this one. Like, you should have just won this game here tonight. But, unfortunately, you lose in a shootout. And, yeah, Willie scored. But Toffoli goes posting in and it keeps it tied. So, then it goes to the next round. JT can't score. It looked like he just, like, his controller turned off. And then that's it. Thank you guys for watching here tonight. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe here to the channel. And on top of that, subscribe to the Daily Face-Off YouTube channel. Mark your calendars because you do not want to miss the most exciting day of the NHL season. The Daily Face-Off trade deadline special is coming your way on March 7th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. DFO Live team is going to be live, breaking down every single move as it happens, instant reaction, expert analysis, and all the behind-the-scenes drama of the biggest trades and news around the league. Plus, there will be special guests lined up throughout the show to give you exclusive insights from some of the biggest names in the game. From the blockbuster deals to the surprise moves, they'll be covering it all. So what are you waiting for? Tune into Daily Face-Off's YouTube channel and follow Daily Face-Off on socials from March 7th. On March 7th, and let's break down the biggest deadline day in hockey. Trust us, you don't want to miss it. Thank you guys all for watching the show here tonight. Appreciate you as always. That's going to do it for us. I will be back on Wednesday for the game against the Vegas Golden Knights. You can find me on here for a pregame show on Wednesday, pumping out that. The game goes live at 10:30 p.m., which means I will be live after that game at 1:15 a.m. Eastern Time. So if you guys want to stay up, if you want to be there, I will be live on here. Probably be a short one, but 1:15 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday night. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Shout out to producer Vick for jumping on here tonight. Producer Vick, amazing as always. Make sure to catch him tomorrow morning for Morning Cup of Hockey, producing that show, and then producing Leafs Morning Take. Two best shows on the internet here right now, other than Leafs Nation After Dark and The Sheet with Jeff Merrick. But thank you guys all for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on Wednesday. Until then, this has been game number 61 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, losing 3-2 in overtime to the shootout, to the San Jose Sharks. That's all from me. See you on Wednesday. Keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.